Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for joining us, as always. This is the Communication from Beyond podcast, and tonight, great show again, is the symptoms of awakening, which we all experience as we go through this process. And the symptoms of awakening, well, first, let me thank you all again for joining us. I appreciate you all. Thank you. And we all experience symptoms as we go through this process, symptoms that are physical in nature and definitely can wreak havoc on the body. As you begin the process of ascension, you are calling in more light into your body. So you are aligning your mind, body, and soul with God's light. And as you do that, your body is attempting to accept more light in it, and your soul, in reference to this light, is expanding its auric field. This is based on information that I've channeled. Now, when your body starts to accept more light into it, and you're filling your body with light, with love, your heart chakra is expanding. You're going through all these, everything that you need to do to become one with God's light. Things just naturally start occurring. Your heart chakra expands, it accepts more energy, and your body feels this energy, and in different ways. And in different stages that you begin to feel this energy, the symptoms could increase in uncomfortness or change in what you're feeling altogether. And an example of that would be, I know a gentleman who, when he first started his ascension process, would meditate daily. He would call more energy into his body, more light and love, and he would fill it. Through his chakras, he would fill his body with light. Well, as he started this process, probably, I think it was a year into it, he started to experience heart flutters and almost like a loss of breath. It was as if he was all of a sudden just going, having to take this deep breath. And I remember at the time he was so confused as to what it was. And, of course, I would think that it was part of the process of what he was going through. However, you don't ever want to tell anybody not to get checked out. And he definitely was not used to this, not used to these feelings as he was going through this process. So he was definitely concerned and confused. Because in his mind, he's like, I don't understand what's happening. I'm simply calling in more light. Why is my body or my heart feel like it's literally skipping a beat or losing a breath? Why is this happening? So he went to the doctors, and many doctors he went to. Cardiologists, family doctors. He had his, I think it was an MRI. I forget all the tests that he had done, but there were several. EKGs, went to the hospital a couple times. He went to multiple cardiologists, actually. Completely confused. And every doctor that he went to, he went through stress tests. He went through different exercise tests to find if there was some kind of like a rhythmic issue with his heart. And all the doctors came back with the exact same result. Nope, you are perfectly healthy. In fact, you're in great shape. And we have no idea why you are experiencing these symptoms. And completely baffled, he continued on. And it was actually, he told me, he went to another medium, actually, and it was in a session that he had, because I wasn't channeling for him, I was just simply helping him through the process, telling him, things to do, teaching him how to meditate and be mindful, and teaching him about the ascension process. So, but he actually ended up going to another medium and who channels, and that other medium channeled Archangel Michael, and Archangel Michael is the one that brought it up and told the gentleman that the feelings, that the symptoms that he was experiencing with the heart are specifically from his ascension process. Now, I obviously said that these symptoms are a result of the ascension process, but you can't, you have to encourage people to go to the doctors, because you want to, I can't, you need to encourage that. We're not doctors. We're here to help. But anyway, so that came up in a channeling session, and yeah, sure enough, he was completely shocked, and then finally realized, okay, yeah, this is absolutely part of the process. And as beautiful as that is, as far as it's a sign that you are becoming in line with who you're meant to be, these symptoms can be they can be a struggle. They can be tough to deal with. And the symptoms aren't always necessarily flutters in the heart where you're losing breath. They're not like that. Sometimes it's straight out flu-like symptoms, and you feel sick, like you're going to throw up or vomit, or you can't sit still. You just have this energy running through your body that you don't know what to do with. And the first thing that I would tell everybody is that first, you have to be aware of the potential that, one, as you're going through this process, these symptoms are possible. And it's a direct result of your own growth, and something to be proud of. Although they're I don't want to say they're frustrating, although they can feel like that, especially in the beginning when you're trying to figure out what it is. Like, that definitely can be frustrating. I've had my own symptoms, quite a few of them, and yeah, it takes me a little bit to figure out, oh, okay, this is part of the process. I gotcha. And before you get to that point, it can be frustrating. It can be worrisome too. I encourage you not to worry, because part of this whole process too is letting go of that and trusting in everything happens for a reason and divine timing. So, but as you are going through the process, some of the symptoms that you can feel, are flu-like symptoms, and they're tough. They're no joke. And as I was saying, the first thing to be mindful of is the possibilities here. The possibility that you can experience these symptoms. So once you're aware that you're feeling this way, but typically when you are feeling these symptoms, there's a little difference than what like a flu-like occurrence would be like. So maybe you're dealing with body aches, and maybe even you're shivering. But there's something different typically about these occurrences, about this energetic increase into your body. And that is something to really be mindful of, to pay attention to these differences, and that will help. Now, as stated earlier, go to the doctors, go get checked out, make sure there is nothing going on with you physically beyond what these symptoms are causing. And then once you get that checked out and you're comfortable in the sense that you're it might be something else other than like a true flu. Once you're comfortable with that idea, then you can begin to look within. Because another aspect of this, and this is we've discussed this before, the layers. As you're releasing these layers come to the forefront. And when they come up, when you're bringing this light into your body, right? And all this stored energy of all these past lives is coming up, and you're dealing with this emotion again, because that's part of the layering process. You have to deal with the emotion again, but this time you're dealing with it in a much more prepared fashion. You know how to deal with these emotions. You know how to not attach to them. You know how to separate yourself. You know how to meditate, to breathe. They come up, and as they come to the surface, they show themselves in different ways. And these are direct reasons why you are feeling these symptoms, in addition to the light that you're bringing in and the energy increase that's coming into your body, these vibrational increases. So just be mindful of that. And when you're feeling sickness, take your normal steps that you would typically do when you feel sick or you feel stuff. Go to the doctors, get checked out. Then once you get the all okay from the doc, then you can begin to focus on, okay, how do I expel this energy? And here's another example. Just 2 weeks ago, yeah, it was over the Christmas holiday. I was feeling the symptoms and feeling like I had the flu. I was actually in Boston, and I had a sore throat. Now the sore throat, I do believe, was possibly something else that I'm still trying to determine, but because it was all at the same time, I'm going to put it in, hey, my body was experiencing this, and now that I say it, I do believe it was part of the awakening process. So my throat was hurting, but what I think was happening was directly tied to my solar plexus area in my stomach. I was feeling so much energy in my solar plexus and in my stomach, and I felt it in my throat. I had a sore throat for days, and my body just kept feeling off. Now, the one thing I did notice, though, was every time I went obviously in Boston, I was walking a lot. And every time I went for a walk, my family and I, every time we were walking somewhere, I felt better. And it was such an interesting feeling. Like, I'm sitting there thinking, wait, if I'm sick, why aren't I feeling sick all the time? And why am I actually feeling better if I walk? And that's when I start to realize, okay, I'm not actually sick. I don't have the flu. This is the energetic shift in my body. And actually, not only in your body, but in the atmosphere as well. Like, don't make any mistake about it, ladies and gentlemen. This planetary realm is also ascending. Mother Earth, Gaia, she's also raising in her vibrations. And we have now moved into a fifth dimensional alignment here on this planet. So, like, your ability to tap into the other side now is so much easier than it was just a few years ago, because of the direct result of Mother Earth actually raising in her vibrations and allowing herself more energy into this world. Well, we see that in different ways. So think about it like this too. All these people around the world, like, sometimes you turn on the news and you see chaos, and you're seeing, like, you almost feel like the world's falling apart, because all these people are expressing this energy that they have inside them, but they're not aware of necessarily why they're feeling it, and they hold on too attachful to it, and allow it to kind of like dictate their life, and it is expressed in, or what could look like, chaos. And that's what you see around the world so often. And we certainly need to be a lot more mindful of the energy in us and around us, rather than just flying off the handle, and rather than allowing that energy to dictate what we're doing. We need to be mindful of it. And when we are mindful of it, like what I was feeling in Boston, and noticing that when I walked, it felt so much better. Um, we can begin to express this energy in a positive way that isn't so chaotic. But it's in time, so everything comes in divine timing. There are no judgments to those people. I know their souls are trying to align with them, but for you people that are ascending, it's definitely something to be aware of. And when you are aware of this energy and its potential of what it can do to your body and the crazy, crazy um, feelings that it can do, both physical, emotional, it can truly wreak havoc there. So you be mindful of it and try different steps. Grounding is such a huge, huge aspect to feeling the ascension energy and allowing that energy to move through you. We have to expel the old energy. We have to. It's why it comes up to the forefront. And there are different ways to expel that energy. And a great one is exercise. Absolutely one of the best ones that I have seen. That is obviously next to meditation, of course. But one of the best ones, and when it comes to grounding, this is. So obviously meditation is one of the best ways. But when it comes to grounding techniques, exercise is a huge, huge tool here that you can use to help you expel this energy to get it out. So, and when I say exercise, it doesn't have to be anything intense. You literally could just go for a walk. And like I said, when I was in Boston, that's all I would have to do is just walk and I would feel better. Try that. If you don't want to walk and you want to run, go run. If you want to lift weights, lift weights. But find a way to move the energy when you're feeling it. Fun. And that's part of also the release. I mean, we say it all the time here. When you are going, when you feel the energy, you acknowledge it, you notice it, you release it, and then you move on. You let go. Well, that's part of the releasing process is exercise, is movement. And it doesn't have to be anything major. It just has to be moving. You just have to bring in, expel this energy, allow it to come up, notice it, and you move, and you hope that it goes away in a short amount of time. And no doubt it will, But I guess that is dependent upon how much is being released too. Like, don't put expectations on it. Know that it'll happen, it'll go away when it's meant to go away. I know the guy with his heart and his breath, losing it still does happen to him on occasion, just not with the frequency and not at the level at which it did when it originally happened. So now it's just a matter of he'll feel it. He feels the heart flutters all the times, but all the time. But he feels the breath isn't necessarily taken away as much as it was and as noticeable as it was. It's a little bit more subtle. Another great way to help with these symptoms is yoga. Yoga is a really good one for a number of reasons. Yoga is and was specifically designed with the intent of meditation. Like when yoga first started, its true intent was meditation. The Western world has developed it to the point where I feel like they've taken the meditation aspect of it a little bit more away. Like all the yoga classes I've ever taken, I don't really feel an emphasis on meditation and really paying attention to the body as far as with the idea of letting go or not attaching to it. I just don't see that. And it is what it is. Yoga is still a great practice, and I encourage it if you can ever want to get into it. It's awesome, and it definitely helps with the opening up of your chakras, with the stretching and just the movements in which your body is put into these different positions. It absolutely taps into every chakra that you have, all 7 of them in your body. and it is very helpful with moving that energy, especially when you are taking these deeper breaths and expelling this energy. Definitely helpful. And another one is just that, breathing through meditation. So if you're going to meditate and you're going to use these techniques. Another one is Kundalini. And Kundalini is all about breathing techniques. And they're intense breathing techniques, intense breathing practices that are, you're just taking extremely deep breaths from your stomach area, from your abdomen, and it's just intense. Pretty cool. I don't really do it, but or haven't. I know of it. I've seen it done. I've tried it a couple of times, but I don't really do it. Either way, it's awesome. They're really good breathing techniques where you're really breathing in deep and you're breathing in fast in some exercises. So some of the more slow moving exercises out there that you could do that are very helpful as well are like Qigong, and Tai Chi, which are both very slow moving, deliberately slow moving motions that get you. I feel like Qigong is almost like calisthenics in a sense, but it just gets you moving, and again, there is a definite focus on the breath, on the breathing, but it's definitely not like Kundalini where it's more softer breathing. But again, all we're trying to do here is move. We just want to get the motions to go so our body can expel the old and allow in the new. And Tai Chi is something that I have loved for a long time, and I have practiced it for a little while. Just probably a year ago, I kind of got away from the practice, but it's a really cool practice. In my opinion, it's one of my favorites. I like yoga as well, but Tai Chi is really cool, and that one also a definite focus on energy and not so much on your breathing, but it's slow, energetic movements where you are truly working with your energy. And all of these exercises, all of these different methods of movement, of getting out there and expelling this energy are helpful. And to be honest with you, ladies and gentlemen, a walk, a 20-minute walk, a 15-minute walk will also help you. Do a couple sit-ups in your living room, or actually, you know what? When I came home from Boston, what I did was every time I would feel the energy, I literally would just walk in my house. So I would do a couple lunges, and I would just walk circles in my house. Do a couple lunges, do a couple of squats as I'm walking around, just to increase the motion, increase the movement. And it was so helpful, and it allowed the energy. Once you get to the point where you are seeing, you're understanding what is going on with your symptoms, like, okay, this symptom is a direct result of me bringing in more light into my body and expelling old energy. Once you realize this, anything that you do with the intent, or any kind of movement that you do with the intent of expelling this energy, is going to help. So don't feel like you have to subscribe to a certain type of practice. You just move and you get that energy out there whatever way you feel like you can, but obviously in a positive way. And definitely something to be mindful of is that we all feel the energy in different ways. So just because I had flu-like symptoms this time, I know a lot of people do though. That's definitely a common one. I know people that have experienced what they felt was something major in their stomach, like major issues. So, like I said, go to the doctors, make sure you're okay, and then start to see if you can move energy. If you think that could be a potential cause of what you are feeling. So, other symptoms that people have felt before. Oh, here's a good one: fatigue, tiredness. That that one I know a lot of people have felt before, and definitely one to be definitely to be mindful of. Tiredness is actually a huge one. Now that I'm thinking about it, it's big, and but also some of these other symptoms that you may feel sad, you may feel angry, and these are all direct results of the energy that we are expelling. So the more we bring in, and as these layers are beginning to release like onions, right? We're peeling back like onions, going to our innermost core, figuring out truly who we are as we begin that process. All these different emotions and energies come up, and it can be experienced by the human body in a number of different ways. Um, but sadness, frustration, anger at different times are absolutely all symptoms that I have felt myself. But again, the whole point of this is to notice the feelings, to not hold any attachment to them. Like, truly, the importance here is to let go and release the attachment. Don't just notice the feeling. If you have to go to the doctor, depending on the severity of your symptoms, go. And then once you get the all's okay, find the way to just move the energy out through those exercises that we discussed. And there are even some people out there that will talk about awakening symptoms and ascension symptoms in extremely severe cases. Like, I remember this one case, not case, I remember this one person discussing before, gosh, what was it? She thought she had, man, it was some kind of disease she thought she had. And I will tell you right now, I will not completely dismiss things like that, potentials like that, only because this energy is so interesting and so unpredictable. You never know. And now I don't say that to cause anybody fear, because that's absolutely not what I'm trying to do. I simply want to bring awareness to it. There are some people that will talk to you about, when you're going through the process, will talk to you about dealing with infections that won't go away. As a matter of fact, I have gotten an ear infection every year since I've started this practice. Now, is that part of the practice, or is that just um, part of life? That one I have yet to figure out. But there are people out there that say infections that struggle to go away, like, I'll get rid of it and it'll come back. I've been dealing with that for years now, and I've been for the almost the same amount of time that I've been dealing with this. I've never attribute them to each other, but I guess it is a possibility. Either way, I get them every year, and I have been for the entire time that I have been going through this process. And it was right around the time that I started this process that I started to get them. That's interesting. But yeah, so these are the different ways in which some people experience this energy. And it's it's tough. So again, keep the movements going, keep the awareness up. Don't hold any attachments to them, and find ways to expel this energy in whatever positive way that you feel you need to. First and foremost, listen to yourself. Listen to your intuition. Your intuition is going to talk to you. It's going to find, your guides are going to find ways to talk to you to help you manage that. And don't forget, ask them for help. Ask them to tell you different things that you can do, like before it even happens. That way, when the time comes that it does happen, they're already going to be granted the permission to come in and help you, because they need that, obviously. And through this podcast, they have said a number of times, please ask for help. Please come in and ask any spirit of God's light to come in and help, because that only brings more support in for your team, for your spiritual support team. So do that, and be aware, and find a way to expel. So I appreciate everybody listening, and I hope there are so many symptoms out there. I just can't cover them all. There are just so many of them. So, and that's why I tell you guys, be mindful. Go to the doctor, make sure you're okay, and then do what you need to do to listen to your body, to expel the energy, and to ask for help from above. Do all these things. Breathe, meditate, detach from the emotion, and expel it in a positive way. That's all we can do. That's all we can ask for. That's all we can do. And go out there and do the best job you can. But the energy is real and intense. So make no mistake about that. And you're going to feel it. We're going to feel it in different ways. Be mindful of how you are. And I will take a moment to clear my mind. Please forgive the silence. And I will allow them to come forth. Enoch speaking. My children, grateful we are for your presence here this evening. The statements occurred today here are accurate in that the human bodies, experience energy on a number of different levels. And in divine timing, these energies will grow and expand both in the physical body and in the soul's energetic auric field. It is important to realize that as the body experiences this energy, that the soul is also expanding. And the soul is absolutely where the growth is truly intended to come, for it is the soul that continues even after the physical has expired, passed. This energetic shift within the physical body and within the soul are part of the process of ascension, and yes, one to be very mindful of. It is through the direct detachment of its judgment that you will find great peace, as stated before. This energetic vibration is not easy for the physical body, but it is imperative to not hold on to it and to find ways in which to release it, as stated earlier. This world, in addition to yourself, is also ascending, and this brings great amount of love, light, and vibrational energetic adjustments into this realm as well. This does play havoc on society at times for those who are not completely aware of the ascension process yet. But this is part of divine timing, and the souls who are not on the ascension process yet, or aware of it, or completely aligned with the physical body yet, are learning from the growth of the planetary realm, Mother Earth Gaia. For it is this energy that is assisting, helping the attempt of the soul to align with the physical body. It is a difficult process for the human body who is not aware of the ascension process to feel the atmospheric change of energy and find a positive way in which to expel it. But this is part of divine timing, and the occurrence is one that is needed. Release the judgments of those that are not in awareness yet and are attempting on a soul's level to align with the body and ascend. Your physical body experiences these shifts in different ways that are difficult to ascertain what is exactly going on at times. The infections could be a possibility should the body not fully accept all of the energy at times, but this shall pass in time. It is important to be aware of the direct result of Mother Earth, Gaia, ascending, that the potential impact on the physical body can be manifested in a number of negative ways to be shown. But this is a direct result of the soul and physical body not being in complete alignment or in alignment, period. Allow for these occurrences to take place with the understanding that it is part of divine timing and part of the process to allow for the soul to align with the physical body. And that at times the physical body is accepting too much energy from the atmosphere into its auric field and causing extreme discomforts that are portrayed in negative senses ways. The soul is attempting to learn from this and attempting to align to affect positive change and positive release of this energy. It is, however, important to understand that the energy that the body receives through the ascension process is one that is only possible through direct approval. For if the body chooses not to ascend, that is possible. However, the soul will always attempt to ascend and attempt to align with the body. However, free will has mandated that the physical body is not necessarily forced to ascend. This permission, if not granted, can also be seen as or understood, felt on the physical level as something that is negative, for it is not in direct alignment and allowing for this energy to properly come in and be dealt with, handled, and thus interpret it in a negative sense and released in a negative way. Something to be aware of as you go through this planetary realm and see the potentials out there of energy that is being felt and not completely understood and yet released in negative ways. There are no judgments to these individuals, to these souls, to these physical bodies. This is divine timing and growth that is needed. We ask for light to be sent to these individuals so that the soul may use the light in order to help the physical body find its way and align. And for this, we are grateful. We are grateful for your presence this evening and your attentiveness. We thank you all, love you all, and wish you a good night. Thank you. Thank you, Enoch. I appreciate you, and I appreciate all you listeners. seriously, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. That was an interesting channel there. Yeah, there's a lot to digest here. This is definitely a topic that there's a lot here for us to understand and to really dig into. So keep moving that energy, be aware of that energy, and release the judgments, release it in some way, and you'll be okay in the end. That's for sure. But love you all. I wish you all a great night, and thank you so much.